Today we're meal prepping in the kitchen, and I have 5 easy keto dinner recipes for you guys that are only going to use beef. We're going to be using a chuck roast and some ground beef. So let's get started. I'm sharing with you guys 5 easy keto dinner recipes that you can make using beef. And these recipes, they're perfect for just the weeknight. So 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, you can incorporate these into your dinner time. I have a slow cooker recipe, an instant pot recipe, one recipe that utilizes the grill, but these can all be made in less than 30 minutes. First, I'm going to show you what I like to make with a chuck roast. So this is our first piece of beef that I purchased. And you can use whatever type of roast you want here as long as it's beef. I just really like chuck roast because it's inexpensive and it has a lot of fat on there. So that's going to really keep us full on our keto diet. I purchased 2 packages of the beef chuck roast so that I can use them in 2 meals. I'm actually going to be cooking it in the slow cooker, having it that night for dinner, and then we're going to take the leftovers and use it in a second recipe. So first I'm going to show you how to make a keto slow cooker pepper and onion steak. This is a recipe that you can make up in the morning and let it cook throughout the whole day, and you'll have dinner ready for you when you get home. In a slow cooker, I'm going to add my chuck steak. For our seasonings, we have salt going into this and garlic powder. To add some umami flavor, we're going to add some liquid aminos, but you can use coconut aminos or coconut vinegar if you'd like to. And then we're going to add 1 full onion that's sliced up. I'm also going to use red bell pepper and green bell pepper. We're also going to add crushed tomatoes. Cook this on your slow cooker at low temperature for around 6 to 8 hours. It's okay if it goes a little bit over. The longer you cook it, the more tender and shred-like consistency that beef will get. Then when you come home from work, it's time to turn off your crock pot and we're gonna mix up our beef. I like to use an electric mixer to help shred up my beef a little bit more, but you can just spread it apart with a fork too. There are many different ways that you can enjoy this keto pepper and onions beef. You could put it on some lettuce with some cheese, guacamole, and salsa and have a fajita salad, or you could put it in a lettuce wrap or a low-carb tortilla and just have fajitas. My favorite way is to put it on some low-carb rice. So I like to get rice noodles that are shirataki rice noodles, and I'll show you my favorite brand here. But I like to add the fajita beef mixture to it and pour a little bit of the broth in there too. It's just excellent. Like I mentioned before, you are going to get lots of leftovers with making this beef. So you could just use it the next day and maybe turn it into that taco salad or have some burritos with it. Or what I like to do is make a fajita pie. So on meal prep day, that's when I make up some fathead dough. I like to make up a big bunch of fathead dough. I always have it in my freezer ready to go whenever I need it. I usually end up doubling or tripling the recipe. If you guys want to see how to make some fathead dough, just click up on the link up here and it will take you to that video where I give instructions. I'm also going to have the full recipe listed down below in the description box. The purpose of the fathead dough is to make a pie crust. So we're going to be making a pie crust out of this fathead dough and put it in the oven to bake before we add our topping. Once the crust is all nice and golden brown and baked, now it's time to add our beef filling. You can add additional onions and bell pepper, cheese, whatever you'd like to this. I like to add in some cream cheese to make it a little bit more creamier. And then you put it back in the oven and bake it. Next up, I'm going to show you some easy keto recipes that you can make using ground beef. So I've picked up around 4 pounds of ground beef from the grocery store to eat for this week. You can pick up a little bit more if you want, especially if you want to have leftovers. The first recipe that we're going to make using ground beef is my Instant Pot Keto Lasagna Soup. And I put up a video on this a few weeks ago. I'll have it linked up here for you guys to click or down below in the description box. This is a very, very easy recipe that you can make when you come home from work. You can have dinner on the table in less than 30 minutes. You're just going to pour some ingredients into your Instant Pot and enjoy a creamy, beefy, tomatoey lasagna soup. My kids love this recipe, and it's one of those really good recipes that you can make when you come home and you don't really have a clue what to make, because these are usually ingredients that I have on hand at all times. Like, I usually always have onion and celery. I have a can of diced tomatoes. That's one of my staples that I always have in my pantry. Some tomato paste too. And then I always try and keep some sort of low-carb pasta on hand too, just for situations like this. But you know what? This soup is excellent even without the low-carb pasta. The next easy keto dinner recipe using ground beef is my recipe for Cheeseburger BBQ Meatloaf. This is one of my kids' favorites, and it's something that we always like to have every week. And I already did a video on how to make this. I'll have it linked up here for you to click on or down below in the description box. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to go over on directly how to make it step by step. But just know it's super simple to make. I love it because I can actually prep up the meatloaf the morning before I go to work, or even the night before, and then when I come home from work, I can just pop it right into the oven and bake it up, and dinner's ready in no time. This next recipe is honestly something that we have probably every week, and it's something that you guys probably already do too. It's a bunless burger, but it's not just your typical bunless burger. This is a smash burger, and if you've never tried smash burgers before, you are missing out because they're incredible. A smash burger is just basically a burger where you're not taking ground beef that's already kind of just smushed together. So I recommend getting it from your butcher shop, where it's you have those shreds of ground beef and they're loosely packed. A lot of times when you get the grass-fed beef, it comes in this like congealed, smashed together loaf, and that makes it really hard to make a smash burger using that prepackaged grass-fed beef. If you really, really want to use grass-fed beef, I recommend getting a grass-fed chuck roast or chuck steak, or you could use short ribs, and then just grinding that together. If you have a meat attachment for your KitchenAid, you can grind your own ground beef that way, or just giving it to the butcher and they can pre-grind that for you. But you want these loosely shreds of ground beef because you want to allow air to get inside, because otherwise when it's too packed together, it almost cooks up like a meatloaf where it's really dense. But making it like this where it's just loosely packed, it's more juicy and tender and just really melts in your mouth when you have that burger. So to make a smash burger, you want to form even balls, just kind of loosely pack them. Don't pack them too tight. Lay them down on a piece of parchment paper. Now there's different ways that you can make smash burgers. We like to make ours on the grill, so we're gonna smash these ahead of time. Another way you can make smash burgers is by cooking them in a cast iron skillet, and I have those full instructions on my website. So I'll have that linked down below for you in case you're wanting just to cook it on the stovetop in a cast iron skillet. If you smash it right there in the skillet, it gets those edges really nice and crispy. But we're gonna be cooking ours on the grill today. So I'm gonna smash up the burgers ahead of time. So I'll lay down a piece of parchment paper and take my burger balls and place them down. Put another layer of parchment paper on top and just give it a good whack. So we're gonna whack those down one by one. Don't whack them too much because again, it's gonna press it together too much for you. And then I season them with a little bit of salt and pepper. You can use steak seasoning. One of my favorites is by the Jacobsen Salt Company. They have a steak mixture that I like to put on my burgers, and then we grill them. Once your burgers are ready, you can top them with whatever keto-friendly toppings you want to use, from butter, mayo, sugar-free ketchup, like the brand I like to use is by Primal Kitchens. There's mustard pickles. You could even get buns. I like to get these buns sometimes by the Smart Baking Company. They make some low-carb, gluten-free buns that are pretty decent to have on burgers. And I'll have that link down below for you if you're interested in purchasing those. But that's it. That's your 5 easy keto dinner recipes, all using beef. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite recipe was and what you plan to make. And let me also know, I'm curious, do you guys meal prep at all? And when do you meal prep? And how often do you meal prep? I myself, I'm not very consistent with it. Some weeks I'm on it and I'm super diligent about it, and other weeks it's just I get too busy and it doesn't happen. But again, these recipes, although you can meal prep some of them ahead of time, they're all designed where you can make them when you get home from work and you're tired and really don't want to make dinner, because like honestly, these all take less than 30 minutes to make.